Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh and whatever special guest he has today. You can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good. And follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us. We are in a remote location, joining you from Ledyard, Connecticut. Let me timestamp it. It's Monday, November the 4th, the night before the election. That's when we're recording this, and our guest today is Frankie Cartaglia. If you've been on the Boston sports scene or the golf scene, and you've been to Wellesley Country Club, there's no way you haven't come across Frankie. He is the gatekeeper. He's the Caddie Master. He's the director of outside operations. He is just an absolute treasure to the golfing community, and he was my Caddie Master for a number of years. He has a Rolodex bigger than anyone you know, but he also has the trust and love of so many people. Had a big send-off for him at Wellesley Country Club a couple days before the recording, in which almost 500 people came out. And that, we're going to get into that, but that just gives you an example of how loved Frankie is by so many people. Before we get to Frankie, a couple things. We are almost at 4,000 subscribers, more than 170,000 views. And the reason why we're there is because people are subscribing to the podcast and they're liking the podcast. Now, if you haven't done that, would you do it, please? Because the metrics matter. The numbers matter to our sponsors, to the nerds at YouTube, Google, Apple Play, Spotify, whatever. And thank you for letting us grow into what we are. And a big thanks to our title sponsors, Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, a little bit tired of beer because it makes you feel full and fat, it's tough to make a good backswing when you're feeling all loaded up in a lot of different ways. Or if you're tired of drinking hard seltzers, try something new. Try a Party. That is the sweet spot for golfers by golfers, and I know you'll love it, especially Transfusion. Far and away, our number one seller. And if your dream is to live in a golf resort-style community like Lakewood National Golf Club, where we usually broadcast from and where I live, and also soon coming, right across the street, Calusa Country Club. If you want information about that, trust me, you'll be happy at either place. Then Vince Vizzacaro and Gene Walsh from suncoastdreams.com, a division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area. They are your team, and they can get you all set up. All right, so enough of that. Let's bring the man of the hour on board, Frankie Cartaglia, my buddy. Usually, Frankie, when we're talking, it's usually at 5:30 in the morning instead of 7:30 in the evening. Do you want to describe our keeping in touch routine and all that's involved?
Absolutely. We both have been going at this a long time. And when you decided to move to Florida, we figured the best time for both of us to chat with each other would be at 5:30 in the morning because we're both on our way to work. So it made the most sense for the two of us. And that for the last at least 2+ years now, right, KW, is how we've been communicating.
Yeah. And it usually involves a stop at a drive-through. And what's going on with that?
Yeah, that's true. And most times when you and I are on the phone together, anytime that I leave my house and I'm on my way to work, it happens. If I have a 7-day work week ahead of me, I go through the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru in Bedford, Massachusetts, which is essentially almost the halfway point. And I get myself an extra large coffee every day.
Nobody loves Dunkin' more than you. I mean, you should be a walking advertisement. I remember when Rob Gronkowski worked the drive-thru at Dunkin' just by Foxborough Gillette Stadium, and you should do that. You could probably sell an air conditioner to an Eskimo, and really, it's not just product. You're selling yourself, okay? And I know, but that's a gift that you have, it's a performance, because everybody that comes to play golf at Wellesley Country Club, you're the first person they see. and you got to set the stage for what's going to make their day. How do you do it when you see somebody coming down? I mean, is there just a thought process? Like, are you pre-gaming it a little bit, or the words just start flying out?
So I pre-game a little bit, but I also know about what time I expect certain people to come down the hill, right? So it gives me an idea of what I'm up against, and every day it's different. And we probably have 26,000 rounds of golf at Wellesley Country Club. And it's you are right. I am the point of contact. So I am the first person that they see. And it's my goal to make sure they're comfortable as soon as they come onto the property. It's just one of the things that I do.
You do it great. You do it incredible. And I see, to me, it looks like a show is going on. And you do it, it looks effortless, but I know there's a lot of energy involved. There's a lot of thought. You got to be on because you're really thinking about that person, what their needs are, what you have to do for them. And then maybe right behind them, you see the next person. So it's just like, you're double on.
Correct.
What's it like at the end of the day? I mean, be honest. Are you like almost falling out of the car when you get home? Or are you just dead exhausted?
In my younger years, I still had a little gas left in the tank. As I've gotten older, I'm absolutely exhausted. And, in this business, Kevin, as well as anyone, we're not doing the Monday through Friday 9 to 5 thing. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get there by 6 a.m. And based on what's in front of me for the day, if there's an event, we're setting it up. They get out there and then we clean it up. And that means we're coming home. It depends on the tournament, how big it is, what time it's starting, a whole bunch of variables, along with the regular play sprinkled before it and after it. People love the game of golf. And so there have been many, many, many days that I've gotten to work at 6 and gotten home at 7:30. Many days.
Yeah. But you got to give it your all the time, because that may be the only time you see them that week. They've been looking forward to that day. And you can't give them anything less than your best. But I know what's in you, because there's an inner performer in you. Where does that come from?
I'll tell you. I would have to tell you what I think. I grew up as a military brat, and by doing that, that meant every 2 or 3 years you'd come home from school and your dad would say, "Okay, kid, we're being PCS'd. We're being transferred to a new location, a new military base somewhere," right? And at every military base, there's always, the military base is always next to a town, and that's generally where Air Force kids. My dad was in the Air Force. That's where we went. So we would enroll in that school, and you have to have the ability to do two things: talk your way out of things, or if you happen to be gifted athletically, that was a huge help, no question about it.
But you were both. You were a good athlete, so that helped. But like the talking that I see, because it just seems like it's a never-ending conversation for you all day, like
yes.
in your day. But you've been prepping for that all your life. I think that's essentially what you're saying, right?
I have. And if there's a lady member in front of me at 8:00 in the morning, or a male member in front of me at 4:00 in the afternoon, I'm going to treat both of them differently, but I'm going to give them the same energy.
And you got the energy in spades. So that's why I know you're exhausted when you get home, because you only have so much to give. And then once, when I'm done with a day, I leave it all out there, and I'm about falling out of my truck when I get home. I'm so tired. And you have the long drive too. So as much as you're unwinding from that and everything, you're actually just, it's a slow descent where you're just and then you get home and you're like, I'm done. I got nothing. The dog wants to play with me. Our kids are grown now, but that feeling. It's like there's nothing left to give. I gave it all.
Exactly.
What do you want?
Exactly. Yep.
Well, the members gave you a real nice send off just a couple days ago. Tell me about that. Are you still riding the high from that buzz? Did you cry? Be honest.
I really am. It was last Wednesday night, and I had known about this for over a month, and members had to sign up to go to this event, and the staff can just show up. And so I really didn't know how many people were going to be there totally. And it was in the Wellesley Country Club ballroom, and when I got there, one of the staff members said, "Frankie, there's 500 people here." And I was completely blown away and overwhelmed. I really, truly was.
But they roasted you. Some people took shots at you. Who took the best shot?
So there were 6 speakers. The president of the club spoke, and she was very nice. The general manager of the club spoke. Colin McGuire from the Ouimet Foundation, he spoke. They were nice enough to present me with the plaque. It was really nice. And Michael Connell, one of the members, he also gave a speech, and he did a really good job roasting me. And at one point, I would say it's within the last 7 to 10 years, in the off season, I worked at Michael Connell's liquor stores. I think his family, they may own 4 or 5. And I worked at one of them for 3 or 4 winters. And he, in his speech, said that in his 40 years of owning the stores, the bottom 2 shelves had never been cleaner. That's a little zinger on my height. I'm only 5'5".
Oh, that's low hanging fruit. He went there.
He did. They laughed.
Sometimes you have to do that because it's a guaranteed laugh, right? As long as everybody gets
Absolutely.
it. I mean,
Yep.
it'd be like me making fun of your hair right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, man, do you remember when we first met? It was 2010.
I have a vague memory of our initial meeting, and I was trying to figure you out, Kev. I was like, okay, what's he doing? And you came to Caddie. And right away, I said, this is awesome, because you know what the Wellesley Country Club Caddie program consists of. Something like, I don't know, 30 12-year-olds, and then we have a bunch of college kids, and then there was one Kevin Walsh.
I'm like a 40-year-old guy. Are you thinking like I'm up to trouble or something, or like?
We chatted a little bit, and when you shared your experience as a caddy with me, I was actually really looking forward to putting you on the team. I really was, because Kevin, as soon as you put the bags on your shoulder, you were the best caddy on the property. You know what I mean? So easy sell.
I don't know if I was the best caddy on the property, but I was the oldest by a lot. But I really liked it because being around the kids made me feel young. And because I had children about the age of the boys that I was caddying with, so I could kind of get like a little what's being talked about, what's cool or being uncool. Got a lot of material I could take back and talk about over dinner, because just about everybody went to Wellesley High School, as my children did. And so that was good. And you know what? They didn't treat me like an old man. I mean, they would send zingers right at me too, and barbs at me. And it was fantastic. And
great.
I just gave, yeah, but isn't that great though? Like when you have an atmosphere like that, where you can have like the adolescents around the adults in a safe environment, a trusting environment, and it's just like, okay, this is where you younger men, you're going to be at this stage sometime in life, so you may hear conversations that are a little bit different than the ones you hear at home. You're going to see men acting as men, truly are as themselves. I mean, what's better than that?
It was the perfect way to go about running the WCC Caddy program. It really was. Everybody knew everybody. You guys had your regular routine. You'd come down the hill. You'd sign in. You'd grab your caddy bib. You'd grab your towel. And then I would start the members playing golf at 7 a.m. And based on the tee sheet, I would make I'd pair the caddy up with hopefully the right two guys, and off you went.
Oh, hey, look who it is. It's did you sneak in on me again?
I snuck in, Kevin.
Yes.
You didn't see me.
Well, here you are, and I'm glad you're here. It's been a while since you've been here, about a month or so, and a lot has happened. How's the market doing?
The market's doing great. It's picking up. We had a Hurricane Milton, and we're recovering, cleaning up. The good news is that we're not in a flood zone. We didn't have as much damage and devastation as the coast did, but we're grateful to be here and to be working again. It's a good time to buy. It's a good time to sell.
And people are coming a little bit early. We usually don't talk about the season until December, but it seems like some people are getting ahead of the game.
They are. Properties are going under contract, and they're going quickly. So if you've had your eye on a property and you've been watching the market and houses have been sitting for a little bit of time, you're seeing a change to that for sure. So it's time to get serious if you'd like to be in a new home.
We're hearing a lot of talk about the place across the street, Ouimet Country Club, which is going to have 18 holes and then an additional 12 holes and a lot of homes. What do you know about that?
Yes, there's going to be 1,900 properties. 1,500 of the properties will be deeded golf, and then 500 social is what we're being told. We are going to be attending a VIP event next week, Vince and I, and we'll find out more details about that. We are told also that orders are being taken November 8th for initial purchases. So that's something to think about as well.
And you can help at Ouimet Country Club as well as Lakewood National.
Yes, and I think that Calusa is going to give us a really nice bump here at Lakewood National. People are going to go over to Calusa and see that they can get in on the ground level of some property purchases, but at the same time, it's going to take a few years for everything to be built up. They're going to walk over to Lakewood National across the street and they're going to say, wow, this is a great community. Everything's here. Everything's ready. It's gorgeous. So I think this community, Lakewood National, is also going to get a really nice bump from all the joint marketing efforts that are being done.
Okay, cool. Exciting times. Gene Walsh, suncoastdreams.com, the other half of the Visit Caro and Walsh team. Thanks, Gene.
Thank you.
Frankie Cartaglia, Caddie Master, retiring Caddie Master and Director of Outside Operations at Wellesley Country Club, is our guest. On Party Time, my golf story, brought to you by Party Drinks. If you're looking for an alternative on the golf course to beer or hard seltzer, try a Party. I think you'll like it, especially a transfusion. And if your dream is to live on a golf course or in a golf resort-related community in the greater Sarasota area, no better place than Lakewood National Golf Club and soon to be coming Ouimet Country Club, right across the street from Lakewood National. And nobody better than the golf real estate pros of Vince Vizzacaro and Gene Walsh. suncoastdreams.com, a division of Fine Properties. Frankie, so we talked about the drive-in in our conversation and the stop at Dunkin', of course, to get whatever it is that you're getting. But what time does your alarm go off? When does your day start?
Monday through Friday, alarm goes off at 4:30. Saturday and Sunday, the alarm goes off at 4 o'clock.
Are you springing right out of bed, or are you hitting snooze a bunch of times? What's that like?
I've never hit snooze in my life, Kevin.
Come on.
Never hit it. Nope. I've been getting up before that alarm for 25 years.
Dang. So what time are you going to bed? I mean, are you well rested, or it's just there's a fear I can't hit snooze, I can't oversleep? What is it?
Part two, the second one. Yeah,
fear.
Yeah, there's a fear, right? Because I'm not saying that I'm anything special, but if you have 200 people that are playing golf that day, and then there's 35 or 40 caddies on a Saturday or a Sunday, and I decide not to make it, there wasn't anybody that could fill in. You know what I'm saying?
You'd be letting a lot of people down, and you know that, and you couldn't live with yourself.
Correct.
That's how I felt when I worked on TV and I had the morning shift, and the alarm would go off at like 3 o'clock, and we're on the air at 5 o'clock. And trust me, Frankie, there were a lot of days I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And I'm like, boy, I'm letting down a lot of other people, including like my co-anchor, who then have to do it all by herself. Or who are you going to call at 3 o'clock in the morning? Hey, can you pinch hit for Kevin? You can't make it. It's just,
At my point, and that's a really good analogy, Kevin. There is no pinch hitting for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so
I beat that alarm clock every day for 25 years.
Okay, so an off day, like what's the latest you can sleep in? I mean, I know you've tried, but like, Monday, like a day you're not working, what's the latest you remember sleeping in?
I haven't slept past 7 o'clock in the morning in 40 years.
I believe you. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say right around 7, but I was wondering if you maybe tried to drag it out to 8, and then you're like, I can't take it anymore. I got to get out of this bed.
I got to get out of that bed. And also with that military background,
yeah.
If I was in the bed past 7, my father was making it. You know what I mean? So it wasn't happening.
You set such a good example. I mean, I can go through a long list of people. Like some became Ouimet scholars at Wellesley Country Club, and I know there's some in particular that you're proud of. I mean, what do you want your legacy to be, or you're already seeing it living by some of your past caddies coming back? You see them getting on with life, starting careers, and maybe even starting families.
So this could be a pretty long-winded answer, if you don't mind, and I will tell you that in my time, I ended up how I hire kids, right, that work in the bag room and then become caddies, or vice versa. They came in 5-year increments. And, so the kids that worked for me from the year 2000 to the year 2005, I'm still in touch with, to the year 2006, to the year 2010, and so on. But one of the things that stands out for me personally is my son. As soon as he was 12 years old, I took him down the highway through the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru to Wellesley Country Club, and I put a bag over his shoulder. And so from the age of 12 until he graduated from the University of New Hampshire, he caddied and worked for me in the bag room at Wellesley. And I will tell you, he in college, I think it was his sophomore year, he became a Ouimet Scholar. And what that scholarship did for him, and myself included, was it allowed him to be a college student and enjoy college life without having to work 30 hours a week. So he really had a great 4 years.
Yeah, he really did. You are family to a lot of members at Wellesley Country Club. They you help them with their homes and everything. They've been very supportive of you and your family. What does that mean to you personally?
So I would say, I don't know if I shared this with you, Kevin. I'm helping Hal Jacobs. He's our new head pro at Wellesley Country Club, find my replacement. And I'm going to meet, we got down to the final 5, and I'm going to meet with each of the final 5. And one of the things I'm going to say to this young guy is the key in this business is to earn their trust. Once they trust you, everything flows. You can make mistakes and it's okay.
But get their trust, and then they'll love you, and then you're just on a whole different level of
Correct.
Performing, and then it's just like then everybody's happy to see everybody. Help me. I look at you as a reference for, like, if I were going to another club, or I'm a member of the club, how can I be a better member or a guest of the club? So when I'm coming down, and whoever's going to be my first point of contact, that I can make it easy on them, but at the same time, I can still kind of get what I want out of the day.
So the question is, if you were coming to play Wellesley as a guest, how would you go about your business?
Yeah, like what could I do to just put myself in a good light where I'm going to get the good service, but you're going to know I'm a good guy, and I'm going to be easy to taken care of. Or it could be any club. I mean, because I look at you as like, I mean, I could call you and say, hey, Frankie, I'm going to play Essex Country Club. What do I need to know? What should I bring? How much money should I pack for tipping? Who am I taking care of? It's kind of that sort of question. You follow?
Sure. I do follow. Sure. Obviously everyone's different, right? And in our business, people are very generous, but you have to go about your day. Any money that you make, I consider it found money. So if you go into work and you didn't have a good day or 2 or 3, it's okay. If the key is to meet the people, and the reason for that is they'll be coming around the corner again. Might be a month later, might be 2 months later. I see a lot of the same guests, just invited by different members. You know what I mean? So I have relationships with them as well. So, again, trust is the answer to your question. It really is.
I think also one thing I noticed about you is you talked about talking, being a good talker. But I think to be a good talker and to help people out is to be a good listener. All right. And I'd see you like, but really listening. Right. So that's something you were attentive to as well. Yes.
It's probably the most important part of the job. Again, on average, 150 to 175 players a day. And each of those players have to be treated differently if they're members. So I know all their idiosyncrasies. I know that if Mr. Joseph is coming down the hill, he wants his bag on the driver's side only. He wants his irons facing out, and he wants a wet towel, right? So those things are it's really important pieces of information that will help you be successful in your job. And those little things, they absolutely eat up.
Yeah. Little things mean a lot. And then it becomes fun because like you learn and you remember some idiosyncrasies, and then maybe you can start guessing about like, hey, would they like this? And you can try something, and then you're engaged. It's a different level of contact with people.
Absolutely.
So a job like yours that involves a lot of long hours, a big commitment, probably involves a very supportive wife. Tell me, I've never met your wife. I can't believe I haven't. But I love a good love story, Frankie. I love a good love story. So how'd you meet and how'd you close the deal?
You really want to know how we met?
Yeah, come on.
All right, my friend. I will tell you this. So in my day, we had typing class. And I walk out of the typing class and I take a right down the hall. And I'm a senior, so I'm the big man on campus, and I see this absolutely beautiful girl walking towards me. So I come to a stop and I'm just looking at her, and she smiles and she doesn't say anything. She walks past me. There were no cell phones in those days. We communicated in person, and one of my friends found out about that interaction. I have no idea how. But he's like, hey, she really wants to meet you. That was 44 years ago. I met my wife. And we have been together ever since. She was a sophomore. I was a senior. I went to college. She finished up high school. She went to college. We lived together. I think I was 20 or 21. We got married. She was 23 and a half or so. I was 26, something like that. And we've been married for 32 years. And you talk about a supportive wife. So I worked at MIT for 15 years. I had a regular 9-to-5 job. I come home one day.
How was that?
I would say great company, great people, great benefits. I got up from my desk 10 years into my job, and I said to myself, what am I doing? This is not me. I'm not a sit behind desk type of guy. I'm a people person. So at that time, I had a very good friend of mine that was an assistant pro at Belmont Country Club, right down the street from MIT Lincoln Labs. And he had asked me if I would ever be interested in working part-time there. And I was like, sure, I love the game of golf. Why not? So I was hired at Belmont. They put me on the driving range the first year. And then I worked, I was only part-time because I was still working full-time at MIT. Mm-hmm. And I'll fast forward just a touch. I came home one day and I had met the then head pro at Belmont. underneath John Fields, the director of golf, and his name was Jeff Phillips. And he asked me, he got the head pro job at Wellesley Country Club. And he reached out to me and asked if I would ever be interested in getting into the golf business full time. I went up and interviewed with him in late 1999, and I've been there ever since.
Wow. So that's great. Where does golf come into your life in the beginning as a child? All right. So we keep talking about your professional life, but when did the discovery or the introduction come in?
I would say, believe it or not, K-Dub, I was more of a basketball player for somehow, some way. That's what I was into. I loved it. But I took the game of golf up probably 19 or 20 years old, and I instantly fell in love with the game. It didn't matter if I hit 7 good shots or 4 good shots. I was like, I can't wait to do it again because I did it right 7 times. And I was athletic, so I used my hands. I was not a mechanical at all. I was more of a feel guy, and I'd get my way around the golf course. And that's how I learned to play, right around 19 or 20 years old. Basically, I had a baseball swing that transitioned into a golf swing.
Yeah, that's kind of what your swing looks like. Big open stance until you get your knee fixed. Then I think you squared it up a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
After that time, because you could. You weren't like bracing for like this breakaway kind of swing. What's the lowest round of golf you ever shot, and what are your memories of it?
It was Mother's Day on a Sunday afternoon. Myself and 2 of the assistants at Wellesley, we snuck over and played Woodland, and I believe it was a 74, and it's the greatest round I've ever had. And obviously, we all remember our lowest round, and that was on Mother's Day of all days.
That's cool. Now, did you know you were into uncharted waters? Were you nervous about it, or were you oblivious to the fact, and then you added it up? Take me there.
I always paid attention to my score. Always. I'm one of those guys.
Yep.
So I was plodding along, and at the turn, I was like, I'm hitting the ball really well, and, I always try to stay below 40 for the turn, for the 9, you know what I mean? And I can't remember what I had for that 9-hole score, but I knew I was playing really well and continued playing well. And I'm more of a, K-Tubbs, I'm more of a guy. I'll find a way to get it in the hole. It's not going to be pretty, but I'll get it in the hole. And when I was
you're
18,
scrappy. You're scrappy. You're a grinder. But were you getting?
That's what I am.
Yeah. Were you getting nervous at the end, just trying to get that plane on the ground, get that round in there?
I was good until my good friend Mike Bowers mentioned it on 18. He said to me, Frankie, you're having a hell of a round. Par this hole. And, I felt it. And I don't know if you ever played Woodland, the 18th hole.
Oh, yeah. You got out of bounds left. It's green's a little tricky. Can't miss it left or long.
Correct. You cannot miss it left or long. And my miss was left in those days. And, I hit 2 good shots. I 2-putted on that tricky green. That green is really severe back to front. And I tapped in for a 4 and shot 74. Ah,
that's great. You must have just been so high on life after it. Just a nice natural buzz, like, oh God, this is so good.
Well, it's like I tell every member, I was on cloud 9. I was like, I can do this for the rest of my life. Anytime I want, I can shoot that number. Within 3 days, I think I shot 90. You know what I mean? And
oh, I know.
You know the game, right? It humbles you so incredibly well.
Tell me something. Do you think if would we be a better society? Would we be a better America if more people played more golf?
Oh my God, 100%, absolutely. I think how people go about their business on a golf course is how they go about their lives. To be honest with you, I think it's a reflection of their daily life. I really, truly believe that.
Reveals character, doesn't it?
Oh, that's the understatement of the day, K-Dub.
Yeah, because if a guy's flying off the handle, if he's chucking clubs, if he's slamming them in the ground, having a little profanity every now and then. To me, I think it's good therapy. But if you just lose your shit though, that tells you something about that person, right? Off the golf course,
he's going to continue that way in everyday life, and that's my point. I know every member at Wellesley. I know how they play the game of golf. I know when they come off the golf course how they handle themselves, and that to me is how they handle themselves when they leave the property.
Yes, yeah, it reveals character, and I know people that believe in that deeply, and I'm with them. Golf to you, what does it mean to you? Can you fathom life without golf? How important is it? How much of a central part of your life is golf?
As I've gotten older and many more surgeries, and my true love was basketball, and then I fell in love with the game of golf. It is, I honestly, Kevin, I don't have, this is what I love. If you put me in a golf, put it this way, I have to give you this analogy. I remember, again, I shared with you, I worked at MIT for 15 years. When I drove to that job and I pulled into the parking lot there, I was like, okay, it's time to go into the concrete jungle. Every day for 25 years, I take a right off of Wellesley Avenue and I pull in to the most beautiful office anyone could ever ask for. Every day. I was always in good spirits. Simply the beauty of the golf course. Everybody, I've yet to meet a person that has come down the hill before the start of the round of golf and they were unhappy about it.
I know. You just have such a head start in life when you're involved in golf, because where else would everybody rather be? They've been thinking about that. They've had that day circled for the week, if not longer. So they're in a good mood naturally. You just keep them where they are, right? That's Absolutely. It.
I couldn't agree more, Kevin. I could not agree more. I remember in the younger days, myself and my buddies would sign up to play a public golf course, and we had to wait for the weekend, and we could not wait. We all went about our daily, whatever we were doing for work then, and we communicated every day leading up to that round of golf.
Talking trash, making predictions.
Correct.
All the above. Yes. Perfect. Hey, man, what's next for you? When are you going to get your ass down here to Florida? Well, actually, I'm not in Florida right now. I'm in Connecticut, but you know what I mean. When you coming down? It's
so you and I have chatted about this at length, and I told you I'm with you. And my wife's on board, and I'm going to do a little transition this March. I'm going to go check some things out. I think I chatted with you about that. And long term, I should be in Florida. And my guess is within 5 years. I know you don't want to hear that, Kevin, but it's going to take me that long.
Nah, come on. Make it 5 days. Come on. We need you down here. we need you in Florida. Get down here. But we love you enough that we'll be patient and we'll wait. Hey, Frankie, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being my friend. Thanks for being a good sport, and thanks for being a friend of golf. Because in the end, I think that's all we're trying to be, right? Am I missing something there?
You're not, Kevin. And you say thanks for being your friend. I thank you for you being mine, man. You're a great guy, so incredibly talented. I have to share that to the 4,000 subscribers. You're one heck of a guy, and such a talented guy. Boring swing though, right down Main Street all day long. Knock it on the green, 2-putt 4. I mean, you got to make it a little more exciting. Step over to my side.
No. Okay, listen. Okay, that's where you're wrong. Boring golf is sexy, baby. Give me some boring golf. It is sexy because in the end, add them up and hey,
it's a great number.
That's the way I try to play. Frankie,
I know. I've played with you many times and I've seen it, and it's the center of the club face every single time. It's a little slight, I would say. I don't know. Does it move 3 feet right to left?
It doesn't move much. It's a little baby draw.
Yeah, that's about it, right? And I don't think you miss many fairways, if I remember. And you can putt it and you can chip it. You can play.
Well, listen, some of that is I've lost some of that game. Maybe you come down and light a fire under my Ocole, and we'll get out and play and have a good time. How does that sound?
I think it's fantastic. If everything works out, Kev, I think you and I can sneak a round or two in the month of March.
Yeah, you got it. That's a deal. All right, Frankie. Thanks, buddy. Let's call it a night here. Big thanks to Frankie Cartaglia, retiring Caddie Master and Director of Outside Operations at Wellesley Country Club. And a big thanks to our title sponsor, Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try Party.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.